Republican Senator Thom Tillis is torching the Senate Republican budget bill just one day after, or really hours after, Tillis announced that he will not be running for re-election in North Carolina in 2026. He's like a free bird. He came on the Senate floor and literally torched Donald Trump's budget bill, saying that essentially those around Donald Trump are lying to him. Here's the exact quote. What do I tell 663,000 people in 2 years, 3 years, when President Trump breaks his promise by pushing them off of Medicaid because the funding's just not there anymore, guys? The people in the White House advising the president, they're not telling him that the effect of this bill is to break a promise. Now, what's that promise he's referring to? The promise is Donald Trump has promised the American people that he will not cut any Medicaid, anyone or kick anyone off their Medicaid. Well, this bill, according to the Congressional Budget Office, which is a nonpartisan office, says that more than 11 million people alone will be kicked off their health care by 2034 if this budget bill passes from the United States Senate. There are $930 billion in Medicaid cuts. Now, here's where things stand. Right now, senators are about to start what is called a vote-a-rama. Senators on the Republican side and on the Democratic side are going to put forth amendments, changes to the bill throughout the day. It's going to take several hours, 10 plus hours. A lot of them are going to try to modify the Medicaid provisions. A lot of them are going to try to modify public lands provisions, et cetera. There are a number of provisions in the bill. They're going to try to remove this AI lack of regulation provision that prevents states from regulating AI. That's going to happen for about 10 hours. Then we're going to move towards a final vote. And right now, it's unclear if Republicans have the votes to pass this bill. Before I continue, I do have an ear infection. I actually went to urgent care after y'all told me to. Double ear infection, 2 ear infections in one ear right over here. So I'm going to try to take it a little bit easier after this bill passes or fails. If you want to support my work in the meantime, please consider subscribing to my Substack by clicking the button below or sending a one-time Venmo to Aaron-Parnas to donate to support my work. So we're going to see what's going to happen with this bill. Ultimately, the final vote on this bill will probably happen, if I had to guess, around 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. tonight, maybe even overnight in the morning. So I'll be up until this bill passes or fails. I'll be providing you updates every step of the way. Remember, after this bill, if it passes, it'll go back to the House of Representatives where it's going to have to pass another vote among the full House. If it goes there, then it's going to go to the president's desk. Trump wants to sign before Friday, before the July 4th holiday. We'll see if we're going to get there. It's unclear. Louisiana's major health systems are warning Speaker Mike Johnson and other lawmakers in the state that the Senate Republican Medicaid cuts would be, quote, historic and devastation, slashing over $4 billion in state funding. They actually said that the Senate version of this bill is substantially worse than the House version of the bill, which cut less Medicaid than the Senate. The House bill cut about $800 billion. The Senate is now about $1 trillion. Now, non-budget news. Overnight, authorities say a man who set a brush fire in Idaho's Canfield Mountain fatally ambushed 2 firefighters in a sniper-style attack. He was found dead, ending a massive law enforcement response involving 300 officers, FBI agents, SWAT, and more. So essentially what happened was this man set a brush fire in this mountain in Idaho, luring firefighters and law enforcement in. When they came to put out the fire, he literally shot and killed 2 firefighters. The fire has now burned 15 to 20 acres in steep terrain. Firefighting efforts were suspended for a period of time while the armed suspect was at large. In addition, Donald Trump is threatening to cut off federal funding to New York City if Zohran Mamdani, the Democratic mayoral candidate, doesn't, quote, behave himself if elected. Mamdani, for his part, denied being a communist, but stood by plans to raise taxes on the wealthy, saying, quote, I don't think that we should have billionaires. Trump said he's considering forcing journalists who reported leaked U.S. intelligence on Iran strikes to reveal their sources. He also even went so far as suggesting that the administration may try to prosecute both the reporters and their sources if they refuse. The Trump administration allegedly threatened the University of Virginia with cuts to jobs, funding, student aid, and visas unless its president, Jim Ryan, resigned. Jim Ryan did eventually resign. Donald Trump is expected to attend the opening of what is called Alligator Alcatraz, which is a detention facility being opened in Florida in the middle of the Everglades tomorrow. A Sudanese doctor said a 3-year-old boy likely would have survived a chest infection with basic antibiotics, but the medicine never arrived after the U.S. administration froze foreign aid back in February. According to the Washington Post, U.S. intelligence intercepted communications between senior Iranian officials who said recent U.S. military strikes were less damaging than anticipated. And finally, the Trump administration agreed to delay deporting a convicted migrant smuggler and felon in exchange for cooperation against Kilmar Abrego Garcia. The Trump administration is literally working overtime to bury Abrego Garcia. That's it right now. I'll provide you updates throughout the day as long as I'm awake, even with this ear infection, which is really not great. So please consider subscribing to my Substack by clicking the button below or sending a one-time donation via Venmo to Aaron-Parnas, and I'll see you this evening.